Hi everyone, welcome to week 2 of English 102. I'm just going to go over some quick information for writing research questions and using APA format, which is really going to help you with the assignments you have for week 2. So let's get right into it. Your assignments for this week include the readings and discussion board for week 2. And which are going to go over APA format in more detail and then writing research questions. Your big assignment for this week is your research proposal. So give me a little bit to get your library and scavenger hunt back to you, but hopefully those questions kind of gave you sort of a foundation for what we're going to be doing this semester with this research project. So make sure that you look over the proposal assignment sheet very carefully. It's specific and I have a certain order I'd like to discuss your ideas in. Once you finish those first two, then there is a channel on our Microsoft team to discuss your research reflection. The questions for the reflection are on Blackboard, and really all you need to do is give me kind of an update of where you are in your process. In this way, I can make sure that everybody is staying on track and not falling behind, and if you do, that I can kind of swoop in and help before it gets, too crazy. So the first sort of assignment for this week, besides your readings, is to write your discussion board post, which will ask you to come up with research questions based on the social issue that you chose from week 1. So once you have the social issue you're interested in researching, you're going to come up with several questions that are going to guide your research. You want to make sure that these are specific, that they're complex, and that they're actually going to help you find your sources. So a bad research question would be something like, if I decided to research, let's say, racial injustice in the US, and my research question is, what is Black Lives Matter? That is a bad research question because it's factual, and all it does is ask for a simple answer. What is it? Well, it is this. So what you want is something more like, why is Black Lives Matter important to us? Why has this movement gained popularity in the last several years? How has it shaped local communities? Those why, how, in what way questions are really what you're looking for. Make sure that it's not too big and that you actually can find the answer. So the readings for this week will give you some more examples, but different types are really, you can do kind of a comparison. What are the relationships between differences and similarities? What are the advantages? How can something be achieved? Does this have an effect on what I'm studying? Just make sure that you're sort of varying your questions to fit what you want to know about your social issue. All right? And remember that your research questions can also change. Nothing about research is often static. So you'll find as you go through this process that you're continually evaluating what you're doing. So if I decided, here's another example, if I decided I wanted to study COVID-19, and my research question is, what are facts about COVID-19? The problem with this is that it's not researchable. It's not specific in that, what aspect of COVID-19 are you interested in? And it's not very complex. I mean, it would just sort of encourage you finding a list of other information. What you might try instead is something like, how has COVID-19 affected college students' mental health? Or why is there misinformation about COVID-19? Or in what ways has COVID-19 changed our education system in the US? So these example questions are more complex, and you'll notice that they use words like how, why, and in what ways. So that's one of your assignments for this week. The other is to sort of get a handle on APA formatting. So many of you, if you took English 102, or if you've taken other classes in high school or in other colleges, you may have used MLA for English classes, which stands for the Modern Language Association. APA format is from the American Psychological Association, and what this is really a more business and science format. So it's very common in psychology courses, in business, in marketing, in certain science fields. And I think for many people, as you go through your programs, you may encounter APA more often. So I decided that if you're in my 102 class, I want to focus specifically on APA, given that you probably would have experience with MLA before, and I think it's good to know both. So we use APA format to help standardize our research, to make it so that if someone's reading your writing, they could go and find the sources that you've used and use them themselves. But it also sort of puts you in this academic research writing mindset. It helps you to become part of the conversation. By understanding how we use sources and how we're writing, then you start to sort of involve yourself in that conversation. I want you to envision these sources and these authors as speaking to you. You're having a discussion with them, and the way that you write about them and the way you use them in your writing is what encourages you to keep that conversation going. So I'm just going to go over some keywords that you may want to know, and for some of you this is a review, for others it's new, so if you need to kind of skip ahead or skip around the video however you like, I'm going to use these phrases throughout our course. So an in-text citation, very important. This is when in the body of your writing you have a quote or a paraphrase of a source directly. An in-text citation is typically in parentheses with the author's last name and then the year. But we'll go over some examples in a minute. When I say a reference page, what I'm talking about is a work cited, a reference list, a reference page. All of those are the same thing. This is the list of sources with their full information at the end of your essay. All right, your running header is what's going to go at the top of the first cover page of your essay, and then as you go through the document, that running head will stay at the top. Your cover page is a full page at the beginning of any assignment that lists your name, SWIC, the date, and then the title of your assignment. Your running header and page number will be here as well. You might also see an abstract on different examples of APA papers. This is sort of a summary that comes at the beginning of a longer piece of work. We won't exactly be working with abstracts much. And then a DOI, if you ever see those, is a permanent link to an online source. So I'm going to show you guys some examples of in-text citations. What I want you to remember with APA format is your in-text citations depend on the author. All right, if you're used to MLA, you might be used to doing page numbers, which you can use in APA, but the more important thing that you need is the author's last name and the year. So if you'll notice over here, we start with one author, and that's pretty simple. You can do something like according to Smith, and then in parentheses 2022, or at the end of a quote, you could put Smith and 2022 together in parentheses. The important part is that you mention the author's name and the year somewhere in your quote or paraphrase. You'll notice when you have two authors, you'll put and between their names. If you have three or more, you're going to use what's called et al. So you'll use the first author's last name listed and then et al. For three or more. If you don't know the author, you're going to use the name of the article. But often if you can't find the author, then it may not be a good source for you to use. Just keep that in mind. And then another option is you might come across publications by an organization that don't have a specific author. So then you might use the association. So these are examples of what you might encounter, but I really encourage you to use the Purdue OWL website, the APA format guide on Blackboard, or the reading for this week to kind of give you more information. So in-text citations are based on a reference page information. So in APA, like I said, the author's name and the year are the most important information. So that information is always going to come first. So if you see in this example for a book, Stoneman is the last name of the author, R is the first letter of their first name, and then this year, 2008. And then they have the title and the publication. A journal article, same thing, author first, the year, title, publication. The website, if you'll notice again, author, year, title, publication. So really, author, year, title, publication. That's the information you need, and it varies slightly by type of source, but the most important part is the author. All right, so I don't expect you guys to be experts at this right now, but I do expect you to put in the time to teach yourself what you don't know. To help, there is an APA format template in Microsoft Word. I really, really, really encourage you to use it. I really do. I'm going to walk you through it in a minute. And then there's also Purdue OWL has a sample paper on their website that's also on Blackboard that will walk you through step by step with these little bubbles, kind of explaining what is in each part and how to do that. So let me pull up the Microsoft Word template. So when you go to Microsoft Word, and hopefully, okay, we're back. I think I got it. So when you open up Word, to find a template, you're gonna type in the search for online templates option, or sometimes you'll have templates that are already loaded. I open the APA style paper often, so here it is. So if I want to open this template, once it opens, you'll see the cover page that I was talking about before. I'm going to running head here, page numbers. If you scroll down, you'll see the abstracts. If you keep scrolling, you'll see they use headings. You put your title here. What's really great about the template is that you can simply type your information in the template, and it will format it all for you. If I can type correctly. So, a couple things. You don't really need the author's note, so you can kind of get rid of that. You also may not need the abstract, so we could just delete that. Then if you'll notice, you've got this cover page, and on the second page is where your writing actually starts. So what I wanted to comment on is you'll see here in this sentence here, they have that last name, comma, year. You remember from the PowerPoint, that is your in-text citation. And that is going to refer to one of your sources in your references page, which comes at the end of your essay or assignment or your writing. So I wanted to show you guys one last thing. If you're working in Microsoft Word, there's a way for you to organize your references without having to do them by hand. So if you click on this References tab at the top, you can click where it says Manage Sources. And this tool is really great because you can search for sources online, or you can sort of add them as you go. So say I found a book that I really like, and I'm going to click New here. From the drop down, I want to choose book, and then I'm going to put the author here. Just making up the rest of this. So say I filled out all the information, and then I'm going to click OK. And when I've added all of my sources in here, if I hit close, and then what I want to make sure to do is to update my bibliography, and you can just delete what was in here from the template, and that gives you a bibliography entry for that book without you having to do it yourself. And you see it's already got the author's last name, the year, the title, the publisher, that information that you need. So if you're kind of like, I have no idea how to do this by hand, don't worry, use these tools. So that is really your kind of crash course in the APA format. Your goal for this semester is just to get comfortable, okay? Like I said, I don't expect you to be an expert, but I do expect you to try. So let me know if you guys have questions or issues, and I look forward to talking to you online.